Hey everyone, and welcome back to Lodo Family. My name is Jen, and every week we put out a low budget meal plan. Now, if you hadn't noticed, for the last 13 weeks, we have done no oven meal plans. Today is going to be the last meal plan that is basically avoiding the oven at all costs because it's the end of summer and temperatures will come down, hopefully, and we'll be able to start heating up our house again. So if you need any no oven plans, go to the website, look through weeks 22 through 34. Those are all the ones that don't require an oven. Now, if you are this mom, and I have been this mom all the time, the one that's just like, oh my gosh, it is mealtime. I don't know what to make. I am stressed out. I just don't have time. This is the meal plan for you. We're going to focus on simple, quick, and yummy. Okay, so let's look at the menu this week. Here is our overview this week, and I would really like you to read through the menu before you start doing it. And the reason for that is we're going to pre-cook some items, and we're going to use some items in multiple places. So you're going to want to know that, so that way you don't use them all up ahead of time. No worries, I've got it all written out for you. Let's look at our grocery list. This week, we came out to a total of $59.15. We did all of our prices at the Super Walmart Center in Buckeye, Arizona. Now, if you're not in Buckeye, Arizona, no biggie. Down in the description, you will see a link to my website where you can go and look at all the slides, as well as do a free printable that includes all the recipes and the shopping list. The second link actually goes to Walmart, and this is my entire grocery list. All you have to do is in the upper right-hand corner, change the zip code to your area, and it will give you the prices for your area. Now, keep in mind that every once in a while, an item is not available at every store. So last time I did this, I had barbecue sauce in my grocery list, and it was like $2. But when other people tried it, it came out to like $18, $19. Obviously, that's not a good deal. So make sure you look through the grocery list before you add stuff. And if there's anything that just seems really out of a normal price range, just go ahead and substitute something else. And don't forget, you want to check your pantry, your fridge, your freezer, because a lot of these items are very common and you probably already have them. Also, keep in mind that this week there's a little ×2 next to some items like the ground turkey, cream of chicken, the white beans. Those are all items you would need 2 of. Okay, so let's get into our first meal. I don't know about you, but chicken and dumplings is such a comfort food for me. In fact, pretty much all of the meals this week are really kind of either comfort foods or twists on comfort foods. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, we are going to do chicken breasts for our chicken dumplings. But you know what? If you already have some chicken thighs, boneless, skinless, whatever, you can easily do that as well. The great thing about chicken is you just use what you have. Now, we are going to use cream of chicken soup. That's another one. You could switch that out for cream of mushroom, cream of celery, whatever you have on hand. Now, for the frozen vegetables that we add at the end, maybe you already have a soup mix or any other kind of frozen vegetables you're wanting to use up. Use those. This is just, if I had to go to the store right now, this is what I would buy. So you can easily adjust these. These are great base recipes, and you just switch out what you have, what you like, and what's on sale. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, this is one of those totally a comfort food. It's almost a one pot, except that you have to boil the water in another pot. No biggie. So you boil your noodles. While that's cooking, you go ahead and you chop up your bacon and you throw it in a pan. Now, we're going to use a full pound of bacon, but really we only need about half a pound for this dish. But I would go ahead and cook the whole thing because we're going to need that cooked chopped bacon for another dish later on. So once your bacon is fully cooked, you just kind of scoop those out of the pan. You're going to need a good 2 to 3 tablespoons of bacon grease in your pan. So depending on what bacon that you use, some bacon's super greasy, some not so much. So just make sure you have enough in there, and then you're going to add your sliced cabbage. You want the nice long strips, like if you were making coleslaw. And in fact, we are going to be making coleslaw. So I would go ahead and cut up this whole head of cabbage. I would put half in the pan, and I would put the other half in like one of those big Ziplocs, get all the air out, put it in your fridge, and then you've already pre-prepped for the next day. So then once you add your cabbage to the pan, you're just going to put the lid, well, first you got to stir it, but then you're going to put the lid on and you're going to let that kind of steam cook. And I occasionally take the lid off and I stir it around. This is also the great place where you can add seasonings. You can add whatever seasonings you like. I typically go with like an herb and garlic blend. You could even add fresh garlic or garlic powder, whatever you like. This is one of those super easy base dishes. And it's also a leftover buster because say you have leftover vegetables, you can add it in here. It's just a skillet meal, no biggie. Once your cabbage is fully cooked and your noodles are already cooked and drained, you're going to add that back into the pan with the bacon and you're going to go ahead and stir that up. Sometimes I add a little shredded cheese if I feel like it. If not, it is perfectly good the way it is, and it is, oh my God, tasty and actually pretty filling. This is another one that's great to pack for lunches because it just gives you that nice warm feeling. Okay, let's go to the next one. Our next one is air fryer Parmesan chicken. Now, if you've ever been to Longhorn, they have a Parmesan chicken that is so yummy. It's got the crunch, but it's still juicy and it's just really, really good. And this is just a way to make it at home. Now, typically I do make this in the oven, but we've gone ahead and switched this up to be for an air fryer because we're trying not to use our oven. But if you don't have an air fryer, you can easily do this in the oven. Basically, this is so simple, and I know it sounds a little weird, but it's really, really good. So you're going to take your mayonnaise and your Parmesan cheese and a little bit of ranch seasoning. You're going to mix that up in a little bowl. You're going to lay out your chicken breasts. Now, chicken breasts, depending on if you get them frozen or fresh, they can be ginormous. And the bigger the chicken breast, the longer it's going to take to cook. We don't really want this to take forever. We want quick and easy. So we can butterfly those chicken breasts. We can cut them up into 2 or 3 pieces. We want them to be small and actually kind of thin because the thinner the chicken, the quicker it cooks. So once we have our chicken laid out, and depending on your air fryer, you may have to do 2 rounds of this. Mine's pretty good. I can easily put probably a good 6 pieces of chicken. So I put my chicken in, and then I'm going to use either a spoon or a brush, and I am going to hit the tops of this chicken with my mayo Parmesan ranch mixture. And then we're going to take some breadcrumbs and we're going to top it off. Put it in the air fryer. Really, this is going to depend on how thick your chicken is. So I would start at 380 degrees. You're going to go for about 15-20 minutes, but I would check on it about every 7 minutes. If you notice that your chicken is starting to get a little dark, like the breadcrumbs are starting to burn, just lower the degrees about 25 and then keep an eye on it. Then once this is done, while this is cooking, actually, you can go ahead and make one of these more rice blends. You can use whatever flavor you like. This is just the one that sounded good. You could also, if you don't want to do a pre-made mix, you can easily use some white rice. You can add some of your own butter and your own Parmesan, and you can make a dupe of that. I do recommend that you add a little bit of like chicken bouillon or chicken base just to give it that little extra kick so it's not as bland. And then we're just going to do simple with green beans. You can microwave those, or you can just saute them up in the stovetop. I know some people would save their bacon grease from the other night and just saute them in that. Totally fine. Okay, let's go to the next day. Here's what I was talking about, comfort food. I love BLTs. I love burgers. So let's make a BLT burger. Now, I recently made this at home with pre-made burgers. And basically, I took that burger and I put it on top of what would be considered a normal BLT. You know, where you put the mayo on the top and the bottom of the bread, put some lettuce, sliced tomato, and some bacon. But to kind of kick it up a little notch, if I was going to make this more from scratch, I would take my ground turkey, I would add in chopped cooked bacon, a little bit of breadcrumbs, and here's an interesting twist for you. Eggs are expensive right now. They've kind of been fluctuating, and right now they're kind of on the high end. So if you don't have eggs at home, you can easily substitute mustard. It does the exact same thing. It gives it that thickness, and it doesn't necessarily make it taste mustardy. It's just the emulsifier you need to make your burgers. Now, this is how I like to make my burgers, very similar to like a meatloaf. If you don't want to do this part, you just want to do straight ground turkey and bacon, that's totally up to you. This is just how we prefer it. So once you have your burgers made, you're going to go ahead and put those in a skillet and cook them. Meanwhile, we are going to make some zucchini fries in the air fryer. Now, this doesn't just work for zucchini. You can easily do this with eggplant, yellow squash, any vegetable you want to make a fry out of. I haven't tried this on carrots yet, so I don't know if it'll work there. But you're going to cut your zucchini into basically a fry shape. You want them all about the same thickness and length. Then we're going to do just standard breading. Standard breading is when you get out 3 bowls. I use Tupperware. I put out 3 Tupperwares. In the first one, I'm going to put flour. The second one, I'm going to either do some mustard or do a beaten egg. See that little swap we did again? And then the last one, we are going to do breadcrumbs, and you can do any seasoning you like, and you can add Parmesan cheese. Now, you're going to take your zucchini and you are going to put it in the flour. You're just going to dredge it till it's lightly coated. Then you're going to put it in your liquid. If your mustard is kind of on the thicker end, like if you use a brown mustard, add a little bit of water and you'll notice it has a very similar consistency to a beaten egg. Then once it's dipped and it's wet from the egg or the mustard, then you're going to just kind of shake it around in your breadcrumbs. It should be lightly coated. You can go super thick, but I prefer to go lighter. Once all of your fries are done, you're going to put those in the air fryer. They typically take about 9 minutes at 400 degrees. But once again, this will depend on the size of the fries. And if you notice that they're getting a little too dark, just drop the degrees about 25 and keep an eye on them. Then when everything's ready, it's very simple. You're going to take your bread, you're going to put some in it, and then you're going to top it with your lettuce, tomato, your burger. Now you could add cheese if you want. When I did mine, I added a little slice of provolone. That's totally up to you. And then with your zucchini fries, you can also dip them in ranch. My son likes to dip them in sour cream. No rules here. We just eat good food. This next one is so super simple, easy, and part of it you can even make ahead of time. Remember, we talked about the cabbage. So we had half a head of cabbage, and we hopefully already cut it up into slaw. And depending on when you do this, you can easily go ahead and make the coleslaw portion of this ahead of time, because I find that coleslaw tastes so much better, especially if it sits overnight in the refrigerator and it has time to meld. Totally up to you. You could do this in the afternoon or, as soon as you start making dinner. And if it chills for 20, 30 minutes, that's just fine too. So we can do this with either fish sticks, that's what my kids prefer, or you can even use the breaded fillets. Either one's fine. I usually go with what's on sale with the highest weight. We're going to go ahead and make those in the air fryer or the oven if you don't have an air fryer. Go ahead and let them get crispy. For the coleslaw part, this is just a nice fun twist. We have done lots of different fun coleslaws this summer. We've done a pineapple coleslaw. We've done a tropical coleslaw. Now we're going to do peach because peaches are in season and it just gives that little extra tang to it. So we're going to take our chopped cabbage, we're going to dice up our peaches, and then we're going to make a super simple coleslaw dressing. We're going to use mayo, a little bit of sugar, and then we're also going to use a lime. Limes are fairly inexpensive right now. We're going to zest it to get that extra flavor, and we're also going to juice it. Now, this particular coleslaw, I kind of like it more on the sweet side, but if you're used to coleslaw having that tang, you can easily add 1 to 2 tablespoons of either vinegar or pickle juice, and you'll get that very similar coleslaw tang there. But you don't have to, you just play that one by ear. Once your fish sticks or your fish fillets are done baking, I let them sit for a little bit because nobody wants them like boiling hot. And we're going to take our flour tortilla. We'll put in our fish, we'll top it with some slaw, and we are going to call it good to go. Now, I will say that my kids prefer the coleslaw on the side, so you can easily do that. There's no rules here. We're just trying to make quick, fun dinners that not only will adults eat, but kids will eat too. Now, over on the Facebook page, we've had a lot of people mention that they have started chili. Okay, that fun, just comfort food. Well, this is just a twist on classic chili. Instead of making it with like sausage or ground beef, we're going to do ground turkey. So we're going to make a white turkey chili. And this is very, very simple. You're going to brown your ground turkey. Once that's done, you're going to drain off any excess grease. We're going to add half an onion that's chopped and some green chilies. Now, I prefer to drain these a little bit, but honestly, that's up to you. And that little bit of liquid's not going to make a big difference, but if you like a little heat, that liquid juice is actually going to bring a little heat. Now, you can find these chilies in a mild, and so if you're sensitive to spices, totally do that. Then here's where we're going to add some ground cumin. Cumin is very similar in taste to like a chili powder, but it's going to be on the lighter color. Now, you could honestly just use chili powder or a chili mix. You can use whatever seasonings you like. Now, typically we would add chicken broth to this, but a cheap alternative to that is to get chicken bouillon cubes. Now, what I like to do is I put my bouillon cubes and then I pour my really hot boiling water over them and I just use a fork or a whisk to stir it up. Once that's fully dissolved, I'm going to add that to the pan. We're going to take our 2 cans of cannellini beans. I can't pronounce it right, I know. Basically, they're white kidney beans. If you don't have these or you don't want to buy these, if you already have northern beans or white navy beans, all of those will work. You just need a white bean. Now, we add those to the pot and then we're just going to let that cook for about 20 minutes. This is going to be a little bit more soupy than like a super thick chili, but I know some people like it thick and smooth. So what you can do is take a slotted spoon, take a good amount of the beans out and put them into like your little chopper or your food processor or your blender, and you're going to go ahead and blend those up. I add a little bit of the liquid of the chili, and then it gets that nice paste. You're going to add it back to the pan, stir it around, it'll kind of thicken everything up. Then we can serve this with some tortilla chips and some shredded Colby Jack cheese. If you don't have Colby Jack, use whatever you got. A cheddar's going to be wonderful. This is one of those that if I have the extra money, I'm going to splurge and I'm going to buy an avocado, do some sliced avocado. This is really good with a squirt of lime if you have an extra one. There's lots of different ways you can do this. My kids actually like to do this more nacho style. So instead of like dipping the tortilla chips in the chili, we lay the chips out, do the chili, and then do the cheese, and then it's nachos and it's kid friendly. Do what you gotta do. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the meals this week, and don't forget to head over to our website where you can look at all the slides, you can do the free printable PDF, and you can also sign up for our weekly email. That email goes out on Friday afternoons. It is a total sneak peek because you're going to be notified of the new menu before anybody else. The menu doesn't even hit Facebook until Saturday morning. I know some people like to go shopping on Saturday, so this way you can get a little bit more prepared. Don't forget to go over to Facebook and follow our page. We do lots of content there, lots of meal ideas, lots of fun, even food history. I've been on this kick where we see how our favorite, recognizable brand names came to be, which is really interesting. Now, you can also join our Facebook group. It is called Meal Planning for All, and I'm going to put a link down below. This is a great group of people that are all there to talk about meal planning. And if you are stuck, if you need help, if you want to see other people's meal plans, just come on over and take a look. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope that it goes smooth sailing right into fall weather, because I don't know about you, but I am done with the 90s. According to the forecast, we're supposed to, cool down a little bit, so fingers crossed that stays true. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye.